On today's show, we're going to be discussing Mic Fright right here, right now on ham radio for non-techies. All right, guys. So this is something I thought was going to be interesting to talk about. And it's kind of weird because, you know, if you're going to get on the radio, if you're going to get on ham radio specifically, you're kind of have the expectation you're going to be talking into the thing, right? But there are people out there that have a fear of talking into the mic, and getting on the air, you know, for the first time might sound kind of scary. Nothing I say is really going to help this out. You're going to have to work this out in your own head, but I'm going to try my best to give you a few things that will help you to overcome this fear. If you're going to get on the radio, you're going to want to talk to other people. And it's not as, it might be scary at first, but you're going to get the hang of it. And I want to give you a couple tips and tricks that I used to help me out. So let's pop over to my desktop as always. So, you know how I like my slides. So, dealing with mic fright. First and foremost, what should you do? Well, my suggestion is to listen, listen, listen. Find a station where people are talking and listen to how they interact with each other. Now, I touched on this on one of my previous videos when I talked about getting into ham radio, and I didn't go into it in full detail like I am now. But, you know, the biggest thing is get online and listen to other people. Listen to what the lingo's like. Listen to how they're speaking to each other, what they're talking about. It's very unique in that you're not going to have a whole lot of in-depth conversation about a lot of things, but at the same time, I can't really explain. You just have to get on the air and listen. But my big thing is, or my main point is, get on there and listen to what people are talking about, and get used to that kind of stuff, and kind of just incorporate that into what you might want to say for the first time. My second suggestion is practice by getting on a Zoom call and talking. Look, I get in front of this microphone. I'm talking to whoever's going to possibly find my video. I have no idea who's going to be watching, who's going to scrutinize what I'm saying, and I don't really care. You have to turn on that little ignore switch behind your right ear there. It's right back there. And just ignore the fact that you can't be afraid of making mistakes. It's going to happen, and it'll go away. I promise you, it will go away. So practice by getting on a Zoom call and talk with other people. Zoom is downloadable for free. Hook up and talk to a friend, or maybe find a group that's doing a Zoom call and jump on it and maybe just listen for a few minutes. And if you have a question about something, jump in and ask. It gets you used to talking to this mysterious microphone here. And the microphone's not going to come out and bite you either. My next suggestion is going and finding a local club and see if they have a net running regularly that you can attend. Now, I told you guys my club runs a daily net. They call it the Stir Crazy Net, and it started because of the whole pandemic thing from last year. And they found a niche where getting online 5 days a week, or getting on the radio 5 days a week, actually, they bring up a topic of discussion. They'll ask everybody to check in. They'll present the topic, and everybody has their turn to answer that question. Now, honestly, guys, being that I'm still somewhat new to this, a lot of the questions that they bring out for the daily conversation, I may or may not get involved in. I might just sit back and listen and maybe learn more, which is what I suggest you guys do. But there are occasions we'll ask something, have some general question about something, and I have something to say about that. And I'll jump on. My first time doing it, I was kind of freaked out. You know, I was like, oh, what am I going to say? I'm going to start stuttering. Don't worry about it. If you overthink this, you're going to screw yourself into not doing anything. And that's the worst thing you can do in this hobby. So find a local club, see if they got a net running, listen a little bit. If you want to hop in, and you're licensed, obviously, you got to be licensed to jump on the nets. Check in. When it comes around to your turn, write down your notes, what you want to say. Have it right in front of you on a little pad of paper, and have it right there so you can keep your mind focused on what you wanted to say so you don't get derailed on it. Keep your topic simple if you're going to talk on the radio at first. And examples are, talk about the radio you're using and the antenna you have and the experience you had buying it and stuff. Just keep it very plain Jane and finite as to what you're talking about. people understand these things. The other hams you're going to be interacting with on the radio will understand these things. So don't, again, my biggest takeaway on this thing is going to be don't overthink it. Just get in there and do it. This goes to my next topic, which is the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep your topic simple. Keep it on something you know about. If somebody brings up something you don't know, it's okay to say, hey, I haven't really had an experience with that yet. I want to give that, I'm looking into that. I'm going to research that a little bit more. But right now, being new, I haven't really had a chance to jump on. They'll understand. They might say, hey, here's some resources. Go check that out. And they might help you out. My next one is going to be finding an Elmer to talk to and help you progress in ham radio. If you have a local club in the area, you found your local club, there's going to be people there that are older, that have more experience with ham radio, and they're going to be willing to help you. That's what Elmer's job is, to help out new hams get used to doing the things we do in ham radio and help you to progress and get further along in the hobby. So if you can find somebody to talk to, either in person, if your club's doing in-person meets, or if there's like this weekend, I went out to my first ham fest. It wasn't the biggest thing in the world. I got to meet a couple people that I only heard on the radio before, and I finally got to meet them face to face. We had a couple of good chats, and they understand. I come right out and I tell people, look, I've only been in this hobby for X amount of time. I'm still learning a lot of stuff, but here's what I do know, and that brings on the conversation. And I can't really express this enough. You have to have some conversational skill to be on the radio. I mean, just like you do in life. When you go up and walk up, you meet people, you're going to talk to them. You're not going to sit there and just some of you might, but most of the time you're going to engage people in the conversation. You'll find some little tiny thing they're talking about that you can engage in and give your 2 cents on. So I encourage you to keep trying and keep doing these things. Again, find an Elmer to talk to. They might have some better suggestions for you that I brought up. I just kind of slapped this together a couple minutes this morning before I did the show to give you guys a couple ideas and try to give you as many options as possible. Maybe you don't want to get on a Zoom call, or you don't have a webcam or a computer or whatever, and you don't want to deal with that. Fine, you don't have to, but there's other solutions out here for you. The next thing on here, if you have a friend who has a ham radio and y'all are both licensed, find an obscure channel you can use and practice on there. Now, it's kind of cheating because you know the person you're talking to on the other end, but still it gets you used to pushing down that PTT button and talking into that radio and getting a conversation going. It'll help you know where your strong points are. It'll help you know where your weak points are. It'll let you know how if you're using the radio properly, if you're holding it down properly, and the different little functions of your radio. So it kind of helps you in multiple ways. Keep in mind that experienced hams weren't always experienced. They will be understanding and willing to help you. Not everybody gets on the radio for the first time and just automatically knows what to say and say the perfectly right things the perfect right way. It doesn't happen. All right. Even when I got on the radio the first time, I listened first, kind of see what people are saying. I wrote down what people were saying and how they're doing it. Then I went and practiced that on my radio with it off and just practiced doing it and see how I sounded and see how I felt when I was doing it. And it became easier and easier. Then I finally got on the net and said something. I was still scared out of my mind, but I did it, and I felt good after doing it. I was like, you know what? I hit that milestone. I had a goal there. I reached it. I went right to it, and it didn't bug me. So, hams are there. You got the experienced hams out there. They're, like I said, they're understanding. They're going to be willing to help you out. They're not going to chastise you. They're not going to give you crap. People know that there's new hams coming into this hobby right now in massive amounts since last year's lockdowns. So they're expecting new hams to show up and get on the radio. I've talked to a couple people that got on the radio for the first time. They're like, this is, they call it their call sign. You can hear it in their voice. They sounded like they're freaking out. So I didn't hear anybody else jump in to welcome them. So I was like, what the hell? I grabbed the radio and said, hey, so-and-so, this is KI5MPL. How you doing? And we started a conversation. We started talking. I just talked to him like I'm talking to you right now, like I'm talking to any other person I meet on a daily basis. So you have to just give it a shot and try it. Now, the next point here is, this is what I call elitist hams. If you get some elitist on the air that starts giving you crap, ignore them and move on. Discouraging other ham radio operators is never good for the hobby. People like that really irritate me. And again, I'm new. I might not have the place to be irritated yet, But you know what? If people are trying to get into this hobby and they're trying to do what they want to do and they want to get on the radio and they want to talk, why should somebody else get on there and start giving them crap about things? What kind of person does that? So if you run into somebody like that, ignore them, put the radio down for 10 minutes, come back on later on, find somebody else. Don't let these people drag you down or discourage you or give you any apprehensions about getting back on the radio. The radio is for everybody to use. It's free to use. Nobody owns a frequency. So you should be able to get on there and talk to people, and you'll find people. You're going to find a lot of people. I have a whole list of people. I start writing down their call signs now and their names. And I've gotten to the point now where when I hear their call sign, oh, that's so-and-so. I know exactly who it is. And I might jump in the conversation if they're not, engaged with somebody else and just talk to them. So it's all for fun. Last couple things here. We all start somewhere, and you can do this. Again, you're brand new to ham radio. I get it. I am too. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I haven't even gotten on HF yet. I'm still waiting for my other antenna to come in so I can jump on the HF bands. And people are like, oh, HF is scary. It's just another frequency. How can it be any scarier than VHF, UHF? Guess I'll find out. But I'm not going to let it discourage me. I'm spending a lot of money on this equipment, spending a lot of time learning all this new stuff to use in this hobby on a regular basis, and I don't need a bunch of crap in my head freaking me out and keep me from moving forward. You're going to have to work this out in your own mind however you can. What you maybe utilize some of the things I'm showing you here in this list. Try them all. Try one. Try none. But either way, if you're going to get on ham radio, you're going to have to get over that mic fright. And it will, I promise you, no matter how many times I say this, you may or may not believe me now, you will get over it. And before you know it, you'll be talking like anybody else on the radio. The second biggest point in this entire discussion is going to be imperfect action is better than no action at all. It's better you get on that radio and say something and maybe screw up or make a mistake than going, I wonder if I get on the radio if I'll make any mistakes. Try it. You have nothing to lose here. And again, most hams, I'd say 99.9% of the hams out there are going to be understanding and they're not going to give you crap about it. You get that 0.1% that wants to be a prick. Drop them. Forget them. You don't need them. You don't need that in your life. Keep moving forward. This is a great hobby to get into. And if you want to utilize ham radio for what it was designed for, don't let anybody stop you. This is your hobby. This is something you've decided to do. You're making an investment in it. Utilize it. So my biggest thing is, get on the radio and start enjoying your new hobby. Get on the radio now. Do it today. Obviously, if you have to be licensed, but if you've got your license, jump on that radio and try it out. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. I promise you. Anyway, let's go back to my main cam here. So that's my suggestions as far as getting on ham radio for the first time. Mic fright is a real thing. I had the same issues too. I still to this day don't like getting up in front of people and talking in big rooms full of people. But I find that once I get up there and start doing it, I'll pick out one or two people I want to talk to in the audience. I'll start talking to like that person, even on the address the entire room. Last year's lockdowns forced everybody to stay in the house. The only way you could talk to people was through Zoom. And I got a lot of Zoom calls. I have students from a course that I wrote, and they're constantly having issues. I have to get on Zoom calls with them. And sometimes they freak out about getting on a Zoom call because they think I'm like this celeb. It's like, dude, I'm your instructor. Let's just get on this call. Let's figure out what your problem is. Let's get it resolved and get you moving forward. So I had a lot of practice last year using Zoom extensively, just to get me used to talking into a microphone. But this same skill here, with me talking to you through YouTube videos, transfers over to talking on an HT. It's the same thing if I'm talking here or if I'm pushing down and talking here. So do something, because sitting around and letting your radio sit there and rot is a waste of your money and a waste of your time. I hope that this stuff helped you guys out. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, please drop them down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That will help the YouTube algorithm show my video to other hams. And please like and subscribe by hitting the little bell and be notified of any new videos that I put out in the future. For now, guys, this is Ham Radio for Non-Techies. My name is Scott. My call sign is KI5NPL. You guys have a great day and 73s.